SCP-3805 The Birth of the World. Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Due to the progress of gestation, SCP-3805 cannot be contained indefinitely. Until alternative methods of containment can be devised, Protocol UN-2 Maker must be enacted at every equinox. Expedition attempts into SCP-3805 via SCP-3805-1A are to be prevented, with the exception of parties attempting Protocol UN-2 Maker. Any personnel or entity returning from SCP-3805-1A not identified as part of Mobile Task Force Orion-19, Rift Keepers, is to be terminated immediately. No contact with any returning personnel is to be initiated by those without full access to Protocol UN-2 Maker. Protocol UN-2 Maker must be initiated from Site-21, SCP-3805-1A. All information related to Protocol UN-2 Maker is restricted to the Site-21 Director, Protocol Initiators, Mobile Task Force Orion-19, and Level 5 personnel. The 3805 misinformation campaign must continue to track all developments and account for any possible discovery of SCP-3805. All attempts by a civilian body or group of interest to access any geological layer beneath the lithosphere, regardless of intent or method, is to be halted by any means necessary. Any intrusive attempts to breach the lithosphere are to be halted by Mobile Task Force Orion-19. Any temporary instance of SCP-3085-1 must be isolated until dispersion. Any new permanent SCP-3805-1 instances are to be catalogued and reported to Mobile Task Force Orion-19. SCP-3805-1B is to remain monitored by Observation and Research Post 5303. Any attempts to access or neutralize SCP-3805 are to be halted by Mobile Task Force Orion-19 with lethal force if necessary. Description: SCP-3805 is a gestating embryonic entity located at the core of what were considered the geological layers of the Earth. The lithosphere is considered a shell and outer membrane, while the asthenosphere and mantle are hypothesized to act in a similar manner to albumin and avian eggs, egg white. The outer core is known to be a network of gelatinous tunnel structures, partially linked to SCP-3805-1, while the inner core is recognized as the embryo itself. All layers below the lithosphere are recognized as organic in nature. How SCP-3805 is related to Earth's geological functions, magnetic field, and similar items is unknown. Drilling, excavation, and similar activities into the lithosphere does not affect SCP-3805 or its gestation process. However, intrusive actions to layer below the asthenosphere are liable to activate instances of SCP-3805-1. While SCP-3805 does not currently possess any form of advanced consciousness, it is still able to spawn cases of SCP-3805-1 as a reaction to external stimuli. Further investigation into the generation of SCP-3805-1 instances is ongoing. SCP-3805-1 are dimensional rifts of varying size created by SCP-3805, activated as a response to external stimuli. Visually, these rifts are often tinged a dark purple, and what appears to be stars and purple nebulae are visible on the other side. The majority of these rifts are both of moderate size and temporarily active, dispersing when the cause of external stimuli is neutralized. The method of neutralization varies depending on the nature of the threat, but reports indicate SCP-3805-1 contains unclassified entities that are utilized as defensive mechanisms. See Addendum 3805-1 R04. These entities are known to be tied to SCP-3805-1, and as such cannot spread beyond the reach of the rift. There are currently 2 known SCP-3805-1 surface instances that have remained active over an extended period, with no known method of dispersal available. Both SCP-3805-1A and SCP-3805-1B are tied to physical archways, while standard SCP-3805-1 instances are not. These archways are constructed entirely of stone. SCP-3805-1 is located at Site-21 and is currently the only stable rift. This rift is directly linked to SCP-3805 and allows entry by both humans and artificial constructs. SCP-3805-1A allows direct access to the organic layers of SCP-3805, with the rift's exit being located 15 kilometers beneath the outer core. As a result, SCP-3805-1A is the only location where Protocol UN-2 Maker can be enacted. How human access is possible considering the immense temperatures and pressure at that depth is uncertain. File 3805 FR1-1. As scientists, we have always attempted to assign even the strangest anomalies in our charge with some rational explanation. In order to understand something, we have to make it relate to our laws of reality as best we can, no matter how alien it is. This requirement is what makes study of SCP-3805 impossible. The only reason we know SCP-3805 is organic is because of SCP-3805-1A. Because we physically stepped through a dimensional rift and stood in the core of the world. Yes, we had some success with non-intrusive measures, but we never would have known the full extent of SCP-3805's nature if it wasn't for that portal. The only reason we could even say a -1 instance is a dimensional rift is because what's on the other side is completely anathema to our standard of reality. We are witnessing something utterly alien, and trying to explain it with the laws bound to our own planet. So, for the love of whichever god you pray to, stop trying to understand this thing. Our position is already tenuous. Risking our ground with tests and experiments is foolish at best. Focus on keeping the situation stable and 3805 contained. We're not here to satisfy your curiosity. Signed, Site Director Kaul. SCP-3805-1B is located underneath a mansion in Redacted, France. SCP-3805-1B is currently inert and has been sealed by unknown means. However, the occupants of the SCP-3805-1B estate are known to be responsible. It is hypothesized SCP-3805-1B served a similar function to SCP-3805-1A, with recovered items of interest supporting this hypothesis. See Addendum 3805-1B R1. Addendum 3805 R1. Due to an attempt at sabotage by Agent Redacted, Site Director Redacted, and Dr. Redacted, application of procedure UN-2 Maker was only partially successful. As of Redacted, the O5 Council will maintain full control over the procedure. Site Director Redacted was assigned to procedure UN-2 Maker along with Dr. Redacted. Both agents were terminated upon reassignment failure. Addendum 3805-1R04. Stimuli 1 drilling jumbo, positioned near SCP-3805-1A. Entity description: 3 large, vaguely cephalopodic tentacles. Entity reaction: Entity disables jumbo before dragging it into the rift. No personnel were lost. Stimuli: Work crew. Attempt to seal SCP-3805-1A. Entity description: Entity is approximately 5 meters tall, consisting entirely of a dark blue liquid, similar to oil. Entity reaction: Work crew is absorbed by Entity, visibly attempting to escape or call for help while inside it. Entity exits upon absorbing all personnel. Stimuli: Submarine drilling operation in the Marianas Trench. Entity description: Entity resembles a large, obese goat with no hind legs. Both front legs are elongated and appear triple-jointed. Actinaria-like, sea anemone, growths are present in both eye sockets and inside the mouth. Entity reaction: Entity propelled itself by unknown means and destroyed all relevant machinery. Both the machinery and overseeing submersible were caught by the actinaria growths, which extended from the eyes and crushed. Stimuli: Detonation of subterranean nuclear warheads during Site Redacted containment breach. Entity description: Entity was not visible on the visual spectrum. Further data pending. Entity reaction: Site was removed from our dimension. No traces of Site Redacted remain. Pieces of debris with Foundation markings were visible in SCP-3805-1A upon a later investigation. All SCP items assigned to Site Redacted are unaccounted for. Stimuli: Oil derrick with modified anomalous drilling system. Entity description: Survivors state the entity was a kraken. Cephalopod traits were noted. No further evidence could be collected. Entity reaction: Derrick was destroyed prior to activation. This may suggest SCP-3805 is now able to perceive threats prior to any physical stimuli. Stimuli: A 15-meter wide comet. Entity description: Redacted by order of O5 Redacted and O5 Redacted. Entity reaction: Redacted. These entities generated from the -1 instances seem to act as antibodies. This aligns with our current theory, that SCP-3805 does not act on a conscious level, or possess any degree of full sentience. Signed, Dr. Jeninoff. Addendum 3805-1B RF. Following the discovery of SCP-3805-1B, the estate above the sealed anomaly was searched. Among multiple items of interest were the notes of Sir Redacted, the final owner of the estate. Most of these notes are files related to experimentation and research into the background of SCP-3805-1B. These notes also delve into SCP-3805, its possible origins, SCP-3805-1, and further tangents. Of note are the final pages of Redacted's journal, which detail an expedition into SCP-3805-1B. The body of Redacted was also found, with a gunshot wound at the skull. The final page has been translated from French. The portal is shut. Victory is ours for however long it matters. Whatever thing we found down there was put to the sword. I saw the horrible pulsating heart quiver and expel its foul blackness. The stars and void poured out of it, even deeper than that which we were already among. It was a hollow achievement. Pierre was the only one to make it out with me. The rest of the mercenaries and holy warriors I attracted to my cause fell at the hands of those hellspawn. We had trekked through a profusion of flesh and hideous starlight to stop the spread of that unnatural. A portion of the text is illegible due to a large splatter across the page, which is a mix of ink and blood. But greater thing is sated by our violence. I would not be foolish enough to assume we ever could have done it harm. We were a sacrifice, a batch of foolhardy souls now united in martyrdom for the sake of survival. Alas, it will all be for nothing. The stars will align in unremitting motion, and the thing will hatch from this shell of dirt and rock. We shall all be lost to the thing that birthed us. I will not speak of this. My intent is to bury this knowledge. Mankind can live and die in ignorance of my despair. None need know of the inescapable birth of the world. Message to Site Director Miranda Kaul. Hello, Director. I'm sure we're both aware that your sudden appointment to this office was a result of a compromising event at this site. I am not sending this message out of a desire to intimidate you out of a similar course. To be clear, this is a welcome into office, and into the circle of trust. My belief is that ignorance was the cause of your predecessor's betrayal. My colleagues disagree with me. I hope you will prove me right in due time. I'm sure you have questions about UN2 Maker, the plentiful expungements, and black box details. Maybe you want to know more about 3805-1 or about Mobile Task Force Orion 19. But I can't answer all your questions here, Director. This will serve to open your eyes. We'll speak again soon. Signed, 0511. Item number, SCP-3805. Object Class, Thaumiel. Special Containment Procedures. In addition to standard document, in order for SCP-3805's continued viable use, the entity must maintain its current state of gestation. All attempts at growth from SCP-3805 are to be prevented by means of Procedure UN2 Maker. To provide suitable candidates, target persons are to be fed specific information regarding SCP-3805 and SCP-3805-1. These files include a completed journal by the deceased found at SCP-3805-1B and detailed documentation on fully developed versions of SCP-3805. Conditions of Procedure UN2 Maker are designed to replicate the events documented by persons involved in the expedition through SCP-3805-1B. Procedure UN2 Maker requires the following: at least 4 individuals fully aware of SCP-3805's nature and impossible containment. All individuals must have reached a sufficient level of emotional distress or trauma. These individuals are hereby referred to as Batch. Item 3805 Alpha. An elongated knife made of an unidentified metallic substance. Origin is extra-dimensional. The delivery of Batch to the center of SCP-3805 containing the Heart, known to be a physical avatar for SCP-3805. The provocation of the Heart, the termination of all personnel by the Heart, the termination of the Heart with the use of Item 3805 Alpha with a ruinic cognitohazard, exfiltration of surviving Mobile Task Force units. Any personnel exiting SCP-3805-1A must be terminated immediately. Mobile Task Force Orion 19, Rift Keepers, are responsible for the implementation and success of Procedure UN2 Maker. Description: in addition to standard document, SCP-3805 has the capacity, at its current stage in development, to counter extraterrestrial threats that would otherwise significantly damage or destroy it. Due to this, multiple XK-class end-of-the-world scenarios have been avoided. SCP-3805 appears to respond to both anomalous and non-anomalous threats, with no current priority towards one or the other. There is currently no usable means of target prioritization. SCP-3805 appears to respond against threats in a similar manner as it would any terrestrial attack, generating a dimensional rift or entity to destroy or otherwise remove the instance. Exploration of SCP-3805-1 has revealed that some objects, both anomalous and otherwise, remain within SCP-3805-1. There is no known way, with the exception of SCP-3805-1, for any of these items to exit the dimension. All anomalous objects are currently recognized as contained. Currently, no object lost to SCP-3805-1 can be recovered. SCP-3805 does not seem to be able to engage with any threats that are either not on a direct course to Earth or beyond a certain range. As a result, SCP-3805 is to be supplemented by Foundation defense assets and cannot be relied upon to counter any threats in deep space. As SCP-3805's growth cannot be reversed without a loss to its current defensive capacity, no methods of degenerating SCP-3805 or retarding its growth are under research. To this end, every possible action must be taken to ensure Procedure UN-2 Maker is maintained. Failure to implement Procedure UN-2 Maker will result in an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario and complete planetary destruction. Thank you for listening to SCP-3805, The Birth of the World, by Cheeriox. If you enjoyed this SCP, please like and subscribe, and follow the link in the description to the SCP Wiki, and vote up the article to support the author and the SCP Wiki as a whole.